Imagine waking up tomorrow with no refrigerator, no supermarket, no food delivery, and no kitchen full of food. You are hungry, but there is one big problem. You have no idea where your next meal is coming from. You can't open a cupboard or order a pizza. For most of human history, finding food wasn't a convenience. It was survival. So what did ancient humans actually eat? Did they mostly eat meat? Did they survive on berries and plants? Were they constantly hunting huge animals? The answer is much more interesting than the typical image of a caveman carrying a giant piece of meat. Ancient humans didn't have one universal diet. Their food depended on where they lived, the season, and what their environment could provide. Imagine an early human walking through a forest, grassland, riverbank, or coastline. There are no farms, roads, grocery stores, or packaged foods. Food could be almost anywhere, but finding it required knowledge. Humans had to recognize safe plants, understand animal behavior, find water, and remember where seasonal foods appeared. A small mistake could have serious consequences. This is why survival knowledge was so important. Humans learned which roots were edible, which berries were safe, where animals moved, and when certain foods became available. In a way, the entire natural world was their supermarket. But unlike a modern supermarket, everything could escape, attack, or potentially poison you. When we imagine ancient humans, we often think about hunting. But plants were also extremely important. Depending on their environment, humans could eat wild fruits, berries, nuts, seeds, leaves, roots, and tubers. Some useful foods were hiding underground. Roots and tubers could provide valuable energy, but humans needed to know where to find them and how to prepare them. Gathering could sometimes be just as important as hunting. A successful day didn't always mean killing an animal. Sometimes it simply meant finding enough useful plants to bring back to the group. Of course, ancient humans also ate meat. But hunting wasn't as simple as movies make it look. Large animals were dangerous, and hunting required time, energy, teamwork, and strategy. A hunter could spend hours tracking an animal and still return empty-handed. That's why humans had to be flexible. They could hunt, scavenge, catch smaller animals, or take advantage of whatever food was available. And when an animal was obtained, humans could use many different parts. Meat was valuable, but organs, fat, and bone marrow could also provide important nutrients and energy. For a group struggling to survive, wasting useful parts of an animal made little sense. But ancient humans didn't live only on land. Groups living near rivers and coastlines could obtain fish, shellfish, and other aquatic foods. Eggs could also be useful when available. In some environments, insects provide another source of nutrition. And then there was honey. Finding a wild beehive could be dangerous, but the reward was a concentrated source of energy. This shows that ancient survival wasn't just about strength. It required observation, planning, memory, and creativity. Then came one of the biggest changes in human food history: fire. Cooking allowed humans to transform food. Heat could make some foods softer and easier to digest, while also helping reduce certain biological hazards. But fire provided more than cooked food. It gave humans warmth, light, protection, and a place to gather. Fire became an important part of survival. Later, agriculture changed the human relationship with food again. Instead of constantly searching for wild plants, people began cultivating crops. Instead of relying only on wild animals, some societies domesticated livestock. But there was never one perfect ancient diet. Different populations ate different foods. Their diets changed with climate, geography, seasons, and technology. Some groups may have relied heavily on animal foods. Others had greater access to plants. Others lived near water and consumed fish and shellfish. So the idea that every ancient human ate mostly meat, or mostly plants, is too simple. Humans survived by being adaptable eaters. They watched animals, they recognized plants, they remembered seasons, they made tools, they controlled fire, they shared knowledge, and they taught that knowledge to the next generation. So what did ancient humans actually eat? The simplest answer is whatever their environment could provide. Wild plants, roots, tubers, fruits, nuts, seeds, meat, organs, fish, shellfish, eggs, insects, honey, and many other foods. There was no ancient supermarket. There was only nature. And humans had to become incredibly good at reading it. Modern humans have almost unlimited food choices. Our ancestors had something very different: knowledge. And that knowledge helped them survive. Because for ancient humans, knowing what to eat wasn't just interesting, it could mean the difference between life and death.